Little lost soul, dear friend, this pitiful story was told by an older brother. He said this is a completely true story that happened to him. Since I was a child, I didn't believe that there were ghosts in the world, until I experienced it myself. All details are 100% real. My neighbor has two sisters. The older sister was born in 1993, she and I were in the same class. In 2013, she was going to school in Vin City when she was diagnosed with cancer. At that time I was going to school in Sigan. When I heard the news, I was startled and thought his family is in the countryside. He eats garden vegetables, home chickens, pigs, homemade rice, basically clean food, but he still has cancer. It's really a disease that doesn't spare one eye. That year's Tet, I returned to my hometown. He had been undergoing radiation treatment for half a year, had lost all his hair and had to wear a wig, so he was afraid to interact with everyone. Friends who came to visit only talked through the door. Its own room, including mine. That morning, I went to his house to play and accidentally caught him just after washing his face and coming out of the bathroom, without even having time to put on his wig. He was startled and rushed into the room. From then on, I accidentally saw it, so it dared to face it. Then I encouraged him, invited him to go for walks, go out for snacks. Gradually he got used to interacting with the world with the wig, and also became closer to me. At the end of Tet, before leaving, I asked him what he liked in Sigan that we didn't have at home. He said likes durian. I told him to try to eat healthy in the summer. There will be durian. Then I went to Sigan. Since then, I don't understand why I can't contact him anymore. Calls ring but no answer, text messages read but no answer. At that time, I was still at my cousin's house with her mother. This woman was my grandmother's sister-in-law, and was originally my uncle's wife. I live upstairs, my grandmother and aunt live downstairs. That night, around 1 a.m., I was sleeping when I heard a voice calling "Cong". I woke up 1 hour later, looked around. The lights were off, got up, crawled out to the stairs, looked down, and saw the house downstairs. The lights were still turned off, my grandmother and aunt were still sleeping, quiet. I went back to bed, thinking I felt refreshed. A while later I heard "Cong" call again. I woke up again and it was still the same, dark, quiet. I lay down again. A little later I heard the screams again. I woke up again and saw nothing. I was upset and thought I was delirious. Now that I lay down and scream, I won't wake up anymore, because I'm too tired, and I've woken up several times because of the screams. As soon as I lay down, I suddenly had sleep paralysis. Surely many people know this. My whole body couldn't move. I could only roll my eyes. And I turned around and suddenly panicked because I saw a girl standing right at the head of the bed. My hair fell over my forehead so I couldn't see anyone. Even though I was scared, I still remembered reading a book that when I had sleep paralysis, I tried to reach out and bend my big toe up to wake me up. I just learned that I have a habit of lying on my side with my legs curled up, so I kept trying to stretch. The feeling of stretching my hand millimeter by millimeter down my leg. While I saw that scene again, I tried for about 5 minutes to reach my thumb and pull it back once. I woke up completely, jumped up sweating, took my phone and looked around but couldn't see anything. I was so scared, turned on the light, took a warm coat, put it on and lay down to play games and watch movies until morning, not daring to sleep anymore. At about 5 o'clock, I saw the sky was bright and I was so tired, I put down my phone and went to sleep. At 9 a.m., I woke up and picked up my phone to see a few missed calls from people in my hometown from the morning who didn't know it because they were too tired to sleep and didn't know anything. I was about to call back when I saw an incoming text message, so I read the message to see what was going on. The content of the message is CUONG, my neighbor's loan has passed away. I called back immediately and asked when it took, but I heard it was around 1 a.m. Suddenly I got goosebumps, remembering what happened last night, and then became even more scared. I went downstairs. My aunt asked, "It's so hot in Sigan, why are you wearing a warm coat?" That crazy guy, she's the same age as me, but according to gender, I'm the niece, but she and I play together and talk like Big Green. When I told her everything, both she and my aunt were terrified. That day I knew that, but it was too sudden and I couldn't go home to see him off. A few days later, after 3 days had passed, I called his younger brother and talked to him. The day I went to Sigan, he stopped receiving my calls. Then the boy said, "You did that on purpose, because I'm at home with you, so I know, every time you see the phone ring and see my name, you just look one after a while." I sighed and let go. I asked CUONG why he didn't answer his phone. She said she didn't want to be too close, and when she left, he was sad. Hearing that, I love him even more. Since the day he passed away, almost every night I have seen a girl's figure standing on the head of the bed looking at me, in a state of sleep paralysis. The first few times I was scared, but gradually I got used to it. Even I thought maybe he hasn't been reincarnated yet. We're close friends, so he remembers that he came to visit me and didn't harm me, so I gradually stopped being scared. Then one day came. That day was the 2nd of March, 2014. That night, around midnight, I was sleeping and woke up to pee when I saw the silhouette of a person sitting on the railing on the balcony. The drying area is quite large. I hesitantly opened the door and went out to ask someone, but the other person turned around and I recognized her. Suddenly, forgetting all my fears, I asked, "Aunt Hun, how did you come back here?" It replied, "At night, the door is open, go home to visit family and friends." Then the two of them sat and talked about everything in heaven and earth, from greetings to life stories. Near dawn, it said, "Okay Hun, I have to go, tomorrow is an important day, don't forget it," then smiled, flew away while I didn't even realize I had just met a ghost. I waited for an hour, then went back to sleep, and when I woke up in the morning, I forgot about the story. A few days later, on the night of March the 6th, I saw him again like the day before, chatting again. When it was time to leave, he told me, "There's a small ceremony tomorrow at home, remember to know the way back and then fly away." I went back to sleep. The next day, while playing games in the evening, the power went out. I sat there not knowing what to do, then remembered the story of the past 2 nights. I immediately called my younger brother and asked, "Is March the 3rd and today, March the 7th? Does it have anything to do with Miss Hun?" He replied, "March the 3rd is my birthday, today is my death anniversary, I just finished work, is there anything?" I replied in shock, "Nothing, your sister reminded me but I forgot." After that, I called my mother and told her about it. She panicked and said, "Why didn't you tell me earlier so I could tell my dad to go to the death anniversary to burn incense and pray to him?" Then I said, "He just reminded me, but I didn't do anything, don't worry." And so time passed. Every few days I saw the girl's shadow on the head of the bed. I knew it was her, so I could rest assured and sleep without fear. That summer I didn't go back to my hometown because I stayed with my brother here. Returning to my hometown during Tet that year, I remembered that I had promised to bring durian home, but before I could bring it back it was gone. I went to the market to buy 2 durians even though I couldn't stand the smell of durian. I want to skip the meal, let alone eat it. Try to cover your nose when buying, then wrap carefully in a few layers of newspaper and then in a plastic bag to remove the smell before carrying it home. When I got home, I went down to his house and brought 2 durians, put one on the altar, lit incense and looked at the photo and said, "This durian, tell everyone to bring it home and then don't wait to eat it." After that, I asked his father to take him to his grave, put the remaining fruit on it and burn incense, then sat there and looked at it for a while, cleaned up the grave with his father a bit and then went home. At the end of Tet, I went back to Sigan and continued to see him, until his death anniversary in 2015, according to the concept in the countryside called the end of difficulty death anniversary, that is, when he was reincarnated. From then on, I no longer saw anyone at the head of the bed, but began to see death at night. Everywhere I go, I lie down at night and see that in the morning, when I ask the people there are always very sacred dead people, of the same age and gender as I saw at night. As for that girl's family, listening to her younger brother tell it, before she left, she said, "Don't worry, Mom and Dad, when I leave, next year our family will have another younger brother." And it's true that 1 year later his parents gave birth to a boy, although to get pregnant his parents have to have sex and it's not like he has the power to get his mother pregnant, but he's right that he's his younger brother. So his parents were convinced that he was reincarnated, loved and pampered the boy immensely, and gradually eased the pain of losing their child, thinking that he had returned in the form of his younger brother. Personally, I don't believe it because it wasn't until his younger brother was over 1 year old that I stopped seeing him, and this is the end of the story. If you hear the story, please let me know. 1 like and 1 subscriber. Hope everyone has fun listening to the story. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.